channel. My name is Stacey Flowers and I am on a journey to become 100% debt-free. I am a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University program and currently on baby step number 1 to save $500. And that is because my income is under $20,000 a year. My current debt is $184,677.39. I currently work part-time, earning anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 a month. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how my debit card got skimmed. So if you're interested in knowing how much got skimmed, knowing what happened, and sort of how that's affecting my budget, please keep watching. Okay, so first things first, my real actual debit card, this one that's in my hand that I'm gonna cut up after this video, got skimmed. And if you're not familiar with skimming is when you insert your debit card into a payment device and someone either has that payment device bugged or they have another payment device near it and they literally copy your number from your card, create a dummy card, and then go and use your card as if the card is the same. And so I was very surprised that this happened, but I will say that the only reason why I was able to catch it, and I think one of the reasons why it was very easy for me to move forward with the fraud application and whatnot, is because I am doing a budget every single month and I check my budget whenever I'm getting ready to pay one of my expenses. And because I'm actually aware of where I'm telling my money, because I'm actually paying attention to where I'm telling my money where to go, as soon as I started to see these charges, like my first thought was like, man, I didn't realize that my son was just out here buying Chipotle and, you know, buying these things. And then I was like, wait a minute. He would have called me and said something, because as many of you know, I have a son. He'll be 16 in July. And so he does have my debit card information for certain things and emergencies, but typically if he's going to purchase something, he will call me before he purchases it. But I mean, the point of the matter is that when they're using the debit card, it is just like them using your card. And so I will tell you how I think this happened. I was at a store. I'm not going to name the specific store because I don't think that it's the store's fault. I just think that this is criminal activity that people can do at any store. But anywho, I was at a store, and while I was at the store, I was purchasing my items, and it's very interesting because there was something odd happening, but I just kept brushing it off. I was like, this is so weird. Like, this person is fumbling all over the place. Like, what is this about? And the person that was before me kept saying, oh, you know, you can go. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I can wait, because I really wasn't in a rush. I really wasn't like, gotta get out of here. I was like, no, I'm good, you know, take your time. And so I'm letting this person before me like kind of take their time, but eventually they're like, no, I don't got it, I haven't figured it out, like, you go. Didn't think anything of it, put my card into the payment applicator, and then made my purchase, and then went on about my day. 2 days later, I was wanting to send my son his commission or something like that, is what caused me to want to go and just double check and make sure my numbers were lining up. And when I went in there to send him his commission, I saw that my balance was significantly less, and I was just like, oh my God, what could have possibly come out? Because as you guys know, in budgets before, there have been expenses that I have been forgetting. And so I was like, clearly I must have forgotten an expense because my balance is so low. And so the first charge that I see is an iTunes charge, and I was like, what am I signed up for on iTunes? Because if you guys remember my mid-month check-in, I already had 2 iTunes charges, and I'm like, what am I subscribed to on iTunes that they just keep taking money? And then after iTunes, I saw Chipotle, and then I was like, I know I haven't been to Chipotle because I'm at the end of this month, and you know, my groceries, I mean, they're running low in the sense that I don't have fresh veggies to like spice up my beans and rice. And so I'm like, I know I have not been to Chipotle. And then there was like another smaller charge, and I was just like, wait a minute, I haven't done any of these things. And so I'm looking at the charges, and I'm actually going to show you guys the charges now. I took a screenshot before my bank cleared the charges, but if you notice, there is a Visa purchase for iTunes for $11.97. Then there's a pre-authorization for $1, which I'm assuming is something that people wanted to purchase online. And then there's a debit for $91.75. Then that got returned. Then there's Office Depot where there was a DVR something for $50, then Chipotle, then T-Mobile, and I'm just like, I just can't believe this actually really happened. And so when I saw the charges, I immediately called my bank and I was just like, hey, there are some fraudulent charges on my account because I haven't purchased any of these things. And my bank was like, okay, well, what charges would you like to dispute? And so then I told them the charges. And what's interesting, and this is something that I maybe should have updated you all on before, but I don't know, I didn't really think it was relevant. But 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, my wallet was lost and or stolen from my part-time job. I'm gonna go with lost because there hasn't been any, there's no missing money, there's nothing missing. It's just an inconvenience to have to replace my cards and my ID and stuff like that. But anyway, my wallet was lost. So immediately when I saw these, I was like, oh, this person must be using my old debit card. And so I say that to the person over the phone. I'm like, yeah, you know, I just recently got a new debit card, so I'm assuming this person has my old debit card. And they're like, well, that's impossible because if your new debit card is activated, it's impossible for them to charge anything on your old debit card. And I was like, oh, you're right. And so then I was like, are you trying to tell me, like, 3 weeks ago I lost my wallet, I get a brand new debit card, and within like a week of me having that debit card, I get skimmed and somebody makes a dummy copy. I'm like, this is like Murphy's Law to the 100th degree. And so I shared that with you to say that not only was it surprising a couple of weeks ago to lose my wallet, it was also very surprising to actually have my debit card fraudulently charged. But truly, and even a few weeks before I lost my wallet, I don't know if you guys remember in one of my budget videos, I talked about how I was working at my part-time job and they had messed up my direct deposit. So I didn't get paid for like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. And I just think it's so interesting because Dave Ramsey always talks about Murphy's Law and how like Murphy will come and knock on your door over and over and over. And it's like he knows when you're broke. And so he does it when you're broke. But what I think is really interesting is that I've had these series of events with Murphy's Law, whether it was me not receiving my paycheck on time, it was me losing my wallet, or it was me actually getting my debit card skimmed, all within like a 60-day window, or maybe even a 30 to 45-day window. You know, all of these things happening. But what I can say is that while it was shocking, while it was like, oh my gosh, I thought this stuff only happened on TV, while all of these emotions were like there, the overarching emotion that I had was just, I was so freaking happy that like I do a budget every single month, because instead of me like dropping into shame and being like, man, you have all these automatic charges that are coming out and you're really not paying attention to your expenses. Because if you look at the expenses that they charged, those look like normal charges. Those look like normal things that I would buy or a 15-year-old teenager would buy. And so if I wasn't actually paying attention to my money, if I wasn't actually doing a budget every single month, these would have been fraudulent charges that I probably wouldn't have caught, because I just would have chalked it up as, well, Stacey, you're emotionally spending and you just forgot. Or I would have chalked it up as, oh, my son must have done something and, you know, I don't want to make him feel like, you know, there would have been, I just would have made excuses for the charges. But because I actually sit down every single month to do a budget, I was like, no, there's no excuse for these charges, because I know what I'm spending my money on. I know what my son is authorized to spend money on, and none of these charges are it. And so it's almost like doing the budget empowers you to actually be able to take charge of your money in such a way that if someone tries to commit fraud, you know how to handle it. Like, instead of like curling up into a ball and being like, I'm a victim of this crime and I don't know what to do, you know, I didn't feel that way at all. And on top of that, because I did a budget, I should have added up the amount that the total charges added up to, but you guys know that I budget down to the penny. So if what that means is if somebody has fraudulently charged like over this, I think it's at least over $150, that means there's $150 worth of stuff that I'm supposed to pay for in my budget that's not getting paid for. So even being able to deal with that process, because like the money was gone, right? I had to submit the fraud paperwork, and then my bank is going to return the money. But the time period between submitting the catching the fraud, submitting the paperwork, and getting my money back means that there are very real expenses that weren't covered. But again, because I do a budget every single month, instead of me being like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? I don't know. Like there's so many things that I need to pay, because like getting $100 and some odd stolen from you unexpectedly, that's not a small impact on my budget. You guys know I only make anywhere between $800 to $1,000, so it's like that's not a small amount to just be missing from my budget. But because I budget, because I know where my money is going, I was able to see the money that was taken and look at the expenses that I had still planned on coming out and say, okay, these are the expenses that are on hold until this money is returned, and this is what I need to do in the meantime, and this is how this is going to play out. And so I say all that to say that like doing a budget has been one of the most financially empowering things ever, and it has literally carried me through the experience of having my paycheck being delayed without me stressing out about it, has carried me through the experience of losing my wallet without me stressing out about it, and has also carried me now through this experience of actually having my entire debit card skimmed and actual fraudulent charges showing up in my account and me not stressing about it, me just having a very like, I don't know what, secure response to, hey, I didn't make these charges, let me submit the paperwork, I have enough time to wait for the money to be returned. So I just wanted to tell you guys that quick story. And yeah, that's it. Tell me, I mean, and I also will link a video in my description box that shows a little bit more about the skimming process. I don't want to talk about it in great detail because I'm not a professional and I don't know specifically what it is. Just quickly just doing the research and just, I'll just link a video down where you guys can get more information if that's something that you think has happened to you. And do a budget every single month, because Murphy will show up and show out in your finances, and when you do a budget, at least you can catch it. You don't have to stress. So I will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you so much for supporting my work. I appreciate you. Bye.